Hey, welcome to Brunch with Brian. And today it is Monday, and I talked about football last Friday, so I'm going to talk a little bit about football today because I think that the most important lesson for today is to savor the victories. Savor the victories and enjoy the moments that you have that are great in life and that you're on top of the world and feeling good because they don't last. Okay, I wish we could dwell in joy better than we dwell in misery. It seems easy to mope and to, think about bad things and dwell in worry and concern. Sometimes for some of you, and maybe this isn't true for all of you, but it seems easy to fall into that trap being a normal human being because you get worried about stuff, in the future and that. I want to wipe those worries out and a big way, listen, there's no way to wipe all worries out because you're going to die. So we're all going to die, and you're always kind of going to be worried about when you're going to die and how you're going to die and if it's going to be painful. And even if you're going to heaven and everything's going to be glorious, it's still scary. And getting sick and old is scary too. So you're always, I don't care how much money you have. You could be a multi-trillionaire. You're always going to worry about your health and how you feel and your relationships, because that's the other thing. If you have, I don't care if you have multi-millions of dollars, your kids might hate you. Or you may not have a lot of friends, or so you're there's so many other aspects. So when you have a victory, when things go well in your life, money wise, relationship wise, or whatever, just take a victory lap, enjoy it and savor it. Obviously, I'm wearing a Vikings hat. They won this weekend, and so they've got a perfect season going. I'm such a perfectionist, and I came up with one of my affirmations for me is that my life ain't perfect, but it's pretty darn good, and it could be a lot worse. Okay, that's a affirmation that works for me. Okay, if you want to write that one down, that one actually works for me as a perfectionist. Now, if you're a perfectionist like me, you tend not to savor the moments of victory because you always look at what didn't go right, or how could I do better next time, or some version of that. So that's why it's so glorious if you are a big sports fan to win the big game. Win the Super Bowl, win the World Series or whatever, because the Twins, like my team, the Minnesota Twins, and the Vikings have gone to the Super Bowl 4 times and never won it, because that's when you can say, even though the season had flaws, we won the whole shooting match. So that's sort of like saying, in one way, shape, or form, that's like a perfect season. If you win the Super Bowl that year, even if there's a lot of ups and downs, somehow it was perfect in the end because it all led to you winning the big game, winning the championship. So if you do, but very few teams, 1 out of 32 or teams wins that. So it's very challenging and difficult, and I may go to my grave with the Vikings never winning the Super Bowl. That would be sad. It would be nice if at some point in the next 30 years, I'm going to make it to 100, so I'm going to be around longer than 30 years. So that would be nice if somehow they managed to do it. But for right now, they got a perfect season going. They won their first game in impressive fashion. And so I want to savor that and say, because they could lose the next game. And now the same thing is true with you. You have some victory in your life, and if you just blow past it and you don't sort of commemorate it and celebrate it, that's, I guess, my message for today. Commemorate and celebrate. Write that down. Commemorate, the two things to write down from today is commemorate and celebrate victories. Okay, so, do what you can to remember them. Like when Lynette and me won this we got some trophies back here. When Lynette and me won this big tennis tournament over down there, it was a mixed doubles tournament, and we got this cool trophy. So that commemorates a victory, and that's why people keep trophies. It's a memory of a victory, and that's really good. I think that's a way to build confidence. And I think whenever you're approaching a real estate investing situation, like getting on the phone, if you have some past memories of success, let's say it's your first seller call ever. Well, that's not your first call ever, and it's maybe not your first sales type call ever where you called somebody and you had to ask some questions, get some information, and try to persuade them to the next step of your path. So, you probably had some successful calls you can recall, and that's why it's good to savor victory, because then those become big memories. Now, that's a key. Memory is very tied to emotion. So if you go through your regular life and you don't get all stirred up very often, you're not going to remember much of your regular mundane life. If you look back at your past, you're not thinking about the time you went to the bathroom and there was an extra toilet paper roll sitting on, little stuff like that. You're never going to remember all that little minutia stuff. You're going to remember big emotional moments, though, things where you felt very deeply. Those actually are programmed to be retained in your memory, because you're supposed to remember those for a reason. It's part of your limbic system. It's part of your survival system. So we remember these big emotional moments. So if you have a big emotional victory, whether it be in life or whatever, and that's that you really want to celebrate and commemorate. Okay. The other thing I said, don't forget that other quote. If it's not perfect, if you're not always a winner, then think of that affirmation I said before. My life isn't perfect. I sometimes use a little slang and say, my life ain't perfect. Okay. And what's the next part of it? Okay. My life ain't perfect, but it's pretty darn good. Okay. And it could be a lot worse. Okay. That last part I added, because I didn't used to say that. But then you realize, wow, you look at people who have some bad luck, and bad things happen to good people sometimes, and it's just like, wow, heartbreaking, and they didn't deserve it, and so there's, that could be lay in store for you, and you don't know. So, tomorrow could be a horrible day. Tomorrow, I don't want to project that. I don't want to create that reality, but things happen, and so when good things happen, celebrate and commemorate, and realize even though life isn't perfect, it's pretty darn good. So enjoy the parts that are good, because it could be a lot worse. And it's going to get a lot worse. Well, no, I always think of my life as getting better, 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 better. But then I know that my health at some point and my physical skills, we play insane pickleball for like 2-3 hours every Sunday, and we played actually Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday this week. For some reason we just kept playing. So I expect a certain level of real high level of performance out of my body, but 10 years from now I'm not going to be able to expect that. So that's sad. So I'm gonna have to think of a way. I'm gonna have to take up golf or something that's gonna keep me happy and physically engaged to stay in shape and everything. So, wow, kind of wide ranging today, but again, commemorate and celebrate successes. That's really important. And if your football team won, if you're a fan, and obviously this was the first weekend of football, so if your team won, that's great, and celebrate that. If your team didn't do so well, hey, next week maybe it'll be time for celebration. So I celebrate and I commemorate and no, let's just keep it simple. I celebrate successes, okay? That's our affirmation for today. So 1, 2, 3. I celebrate successes. I celebrate successes. I celebrate successes. Yes. All right. Hi everybody. Robert and hey David, WL, Mike, good to see you. Christy, everybody, great to see you guys. And live for the Lord. Great to see you. So let's do our deep breathing, everybody. Nice deep breath in. Fill those lungs. Put a smile on your face. And when you relax all the tension out of your shoulders and your neck. That's where we hold a lot of our tension. Another deep breath in. With a big smile. Let it out. Oh, that feels good. And one more. Real deep. Real deep. That feels great. All right, awesome. Let's have a great day today. Let's go get them today. Celebrate successes. Have little successes, even if you have a great phone call. Let's see if we can have a great phone call that ends up in an appointment, or an appointment that ends up in a deal. Then celebrate that success. Okay, until I talk to you tomorrow at the same time, keep expecting success, getting awesome training, and taking lots